What's going on, guys? It's Ramblin Gamers back here again doing another creative video. It's a tier list. I think we might be some of the first YouTubers to do this, but today we're going to be doing the live-action Star Wars movies. We'll do them in the order that they were released, with the exception of Solo and Rogue One. We're going to save those ones for last. So to begin the list, it's going to be Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, which I believe is 5th on the list. So I think that this movie is kind of remembered because of how revolutionary it was. I don't think it goes in S tier though. I don't think that this movie is deserving of that. Just because it was the first, I don't think it deserves to go in S tier. But it's also good. I do think it's good, but I think there's two movies better than
it. We'll put it right there.
Okay. So the Episode 5 and The Empire Strikes Back. This is S tier. Yeah. This is my personal favorite of these movies.
Me too.
I think it's probably going to... by the way, we're doing the best movies furthest to the left, worst movies further to the right, and we'll go back and revisit them at the very end. I do think The Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
I think that Yoda looks amazing. I think of everything that they've had Yoda in, including like the animation and everything, I think he looks the best in this because it's a puppet. I forget the puppet master guy. He does a lot of stuff though.
The Muppet.
No, the guy who actually makes the puppets.
Jim Henson.
Yes, he does a lot of like puppets, doesn't he? And like
the Muppets.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Oh, he does the Muppets. That's why you said that. I thought you were calling Yoda a Muppet. Okay, so moving on, we're going to Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. I personally think this is better than Episode 4.
Really? Yeah, I think it's the worst of the three, but I'd still put it in A.
That's fine. I just think maybe that's my hot take. I think it's better than Episode 4, but I'm okay with it going behind it.
All right.
That's Episode 1 is the worst. No. See, this Episode 2 is one I'll stick up for. I think that this movie's good. I think it has a lot of like really good moments.
I agree. I do agree.
And it didn't disappoint me in the ways that the sequel did, because I think that the prequels, underneath the garbage acting, the garbage dialogue, the really terrible CGI, there's a good story there. I don't think we can say the same for the sequels.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And you get to see Mace Windu do some lightsaber stuff. Not a whole lot, but it's still cool.
Now, Episode 3 is better than Episode 2.
I'd put that one in A tier. No, I think I would say... But no, I don't think it's better than Return of the Jedi. Do you think it is?
No.
Or would you... Okay.
I'd put it right there.
Yeah, I'm okay with that as well. Rise of Skywalker is... The Force Awakens, I think, is the best sequel movie. It's the only one I'm okay putting above Episode 2 of the sequels.
Okay.
I'm
fine with that.
I don't think it's great.
I'm fine with that. Now...
You and I just talked about this morning.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this movie.
I don't want to be someone who... I appreciate what this movie went for. There are aspects of it that I think are really good. I think Kylo and Rey's relationship is interesting. Mm-hmm. I think Luke's backstory, while it's not something I would have pictured, I don't hate it. I also like how Rey is kind of coming from nowhere. Like, she's just kind of a nobody. Her parents were nobodies, and she's just Force sensitive. I like the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
However, the glaring issues kind of... Like, Finn's story is dumb. Rose is not the most interesting character in the world. They kind of just pushed Poe to the side in this movie.
But I want to put it in D because
it's not worse than that, and it doesn't deserve to be there.
Now it does.
That movie's bad. The only reason Episode 1 is slightly worse than that is because Jar Jar Binks is in Episode 1 and he's not in Episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
That movie's
the
bad.
pod racing segment.
Yep, the 40-minute pod racing really damages Episode 1. But Rise of Skywalker has so many... it's so bad. Like, you can... when I watched it in the theater, I remember texting you, Adam. I was like, that movie wasn't that bad. I sat back and reflected on it later that day and, like, weeks to come. And I was like, man, I should rewatch that because I think I'm wrong. I think that movie's bad. I sat down to rewatch it, and I can only get about halfway through. The pacing on it is so bad. It's like a 3-hour movie, and it feels like it should be stretched out into 6 hours. There's so much that happens.
I agree. That movie sucked.
Rogue One.
I'm gonna throw it up here.
Yeah, it's slightly worse than The Empire Strikes Back, but that movie's good.
That movie was incredible. I loved it.
It's probably the best thing that Disney did. Mm-hmm. Solo gets a lot of hate.
I'm feeling a C.
I agree with that. I do think that this movie kind of relies too much on, hey, this is Han Solo. Here's how he got his name. Hey, this is how he got his blaster. Hey, this is how he met Chewbacca. When you really peel that stuff away and watch it for a second time, you realize that there's not a whole lot of story to it. Mm-hmm. The story is basically just, hey, this is how Han Solo became Han Solo. Mm-hmm. It's not very good, but there's a lot of good aspects of it with the tease of Darth Maul at the end, and I can't remember the guy who plays Vision. What's his name?
Paul Bettany.
Yeah, his character. Pretty cool.
Yeah, he was cool. I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, and just like everything that had to do with Paul Bettany, and I can't remember the names.
I did not mean to do that.
I can't remember the names of like the gang that he's working for, but everything to do with that is interesting. Emilia Clarke's character is somewhat interesting. Mm-hmm. Woody Harrelson does a good job. Don't love his character, but he did a good job. Has a cool twist at the end. Han Solo being the good guy.
Mm-hmm. What about Donald Glover?
They didn't fledge out his character enough. The way that Han Solo and Lando act in The Empire Strikes Back would not. Their like honestly brief interaction that they had in the movie wouldn't lead me to believe that they only knew each other that little bit. It sounds based on The Empire Strikes Back, I was expecting like a friendship gone sour as opposed to acquaintances who kind of just stole each other's shit back and forth.
Yeah.
But Donald Glover does a good job. It has nothing to do with that. I'm excited for the series. I assume that he will be reprising his role. It's just that movie left a lot to be desired. And it's honestly, it's unfortunate. It's the worst. Did you know that it's the only Star Wars movie to not make money at the box office?
I have heard that.
And I think it's more because The Last Jedi was so bad than Solo being bad.
Mm-hmm. We weren't as divisive on that one.
No, we weren't. That makes sense, though. Because, like, the Marvel ones are, like, those movies are good. These are bad.
Yeah.
There's not much to argue.
Yeah.
Like, who on earth, like, I feel like the only, like, unpopular opinion we have is episode 2 being in B tier. Mm-hmm. But that movie's not that bad. People hate on that movie. I'm telling you, there's just, like, 3 scenes that if they got taken out, the movie would be pretty good. The diner scene sucks. That movie's, that scene is so dumb. The factory scene, dumb. Mm-hmm. And if Anakin and Padme's love story, just that whole sequence was shortened a little bit, be better.
Yeah. Well, we got some more tier list videos coming up. Tell us below what you think. I'd imagine our list will probably be similar to a lot of other people's.
Yeah, like I said, episode 2 is the only one I feel, and maybe Solo could be shifted around a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, if you want to call us stupid, comment sections down below.
Yeah,
we'll read it and cry.
Yep.
But see you next time.
Bye.